Congratulations, all those who managed to buy this silver purchase. Congratulations to all those who did their monthly silver purchase in the dip. Try and buy the dips. The dip this time went right down to about $70 per ounce at the bottom of the dip. We're now back up to about $90, and there'll be more dips along the way. You'll never be able to time the very bottom of the dip, and it won't make much difference, because actually prices on eBay didn't really change that much. The paper digital promise price of silver went down a long way, from 120 something dollars per ounce down to 70. That's a massive drop. But the real price of silver hardly moved. Anybody who is selling silver is not going to change the price that much. So it won't make much difference for buyers of real silver. The best advice that I give people is to continue to stack real silver and real copper. Don't buy any paper or digital illusions of silver or copper. Don't buy ETFs, don't buy pooled accounts, don't buy silver copper certificate programs or vaulted, where they give you a receipt and don't worry, your silver and copper's in the vault. Do not buy any situation where they give you a paper or digital receipt and you have to trust them that they've got it. Do not buy mining shares. All the problems in Mexico now have made anybody who bought mining shares, silver or copper mines in Mexico, are sweating now. They are not sleeping, trying to sell, but nobody wants to buy. If you don't know what's happening, all the violence and chaos in Mexico with the cartels, this one big guy's cartel leader's been killed, and the chaos there is affecting mining production. The violence, the instability is really affecting all the mines. If you have shares in a silver or a copper mine in Mexico, you are panicking now. You're trying to sell. Anyone with any sense is trying to sell, even if you get a very low price for it, because who knows what will happen. The cartels could just take over the mine. They could call that their base now. All production has stopped, or they could just sell the silver and the copper on the black market. These things could happen, and not just Mexico. Many of these other countries in America, in South America, in Africa, in Asia, this could happen. This is why I say do not buy mining shares. There's so many reasons don't buy mining shares. It's a huge risk of this. What's happening in Mexico could happen to other places. This is real. This is happening in Mexico. People are dying. The drug cartels, the criminal organizations are killing people. Incredible violence. Houses, cars, buildings all getting shot up, blown up, on fire. And they can take off. They can just take over anything. If they decide we're going to take over all these mines, this is ours now, and we're going to sell the copper and the silver on the black market, and all these Western investors. No, I've got shares. I've bought mining shares. I've got shares in that mine. Too bad. They don't care. It's not worth the paper it's not written on. Digital or paper illusions of silver or copper are no good. Do not listen to these people who are saying, buying physical silver is the most stupid, idiotic thing. Buy an ETF. Buy a bit of paper that promises you silver. No. Do not buy any paper with digital illusions of silver. I'm continuing to buy real silver and real copper. The best way I think to buy copper is what I keep talking about, is urban mining. 1p and 2p's. Try and buy it by the metric ton. And I am now, I've reached over a metric ton, which is £2,800 in face value. £2,800 in pennies and 2p's. It's the same. A penny is 3.5p. Come on, Kiki. Kiki-chan, come on. Kiki, come on. Good girl. 2p is 7 grams. And it's not 100% copper. It's like 98% copper. So 10 1p's or 5 2p's is about 35 grams. Well, 1 troy ounce is 31.1 grams. So 10p in copper coins is actually still a little bit more. It's like 32 or 33 grams. It's a bit more than 1 troy ounce of copper. And you can stack that for 10p. And if you spend £2,800, you get 1 metric ton. I'm over that now. I'm now more than 1 metric ton. So I'm going to be storing that now in survival caches. I'm going to be thinking long term. This is my retirement, this is my pension, it's my insurance, my health insurance, my life insurance, everything. I'm continuing to do more survival caches, probably for at least 10 years. I don't think I'll be digging them up for at least 10 years. Thinking long term, maybe even 20. I mean, we'll see. It depends on so many factors, but that's there. You know, people who are paying into a pension now, when are they thinking of drawing it? They don't think about that. They maybe 10, 20 years. They don't think about that, depending on how old you are. This is my pension. I'm doing survival caches, each one. I've got these big boxes of copper now, and they all come in the free bags. You get £1 bags, face value £1. 1 piece or 2 pieces of copper, and you get them for free. When you ask the bank, you bring a £20 or a 40, you want to ask £40 worth of copper, pennies and 2p's. They all come in these money bags, and you separate out the ones that aren't copper to be deposited back at the bank. You need a big magnet for that. The more powerful magnet, the better. Make sure there's no copper ones stuck between the steel ones. All the steel ones you put back in about half the bags, deposit them back at the bank, and then go to another bank and do it again, because you can't go to that same bank. They'll just give you all the steel ones. And I have had the situation where I've asked for that, and there was only like 10% copper left in it. So I think someone else had been urban mining. Maybe even the government themselves are taking out the copper from circulation. I don't know. This has happened many times in history. You might go to a bank and find very low percentage copper. It's mostly all steel. But sometimes it's 40% copper, something like that. It's well worth the effort. And then this 40% copper, I store in survival caches now. And me and my son have been doing that recently, all over the place. I've got a little bit of silver there. I haven't got much silver in this country. Most of my silver's in Japan, because I used to live in Japan, in Asia. But in this country, I do copper. I've got the copper and a bit of silver in these survival caches. Warm clothes, good walking boots, knife, little camp wild stuff, because I love hiking and wild camping. That's what I'm putting in all my survival caches. This is my insurance. But this 1 metric ton of copper, I'm going to be spreading around lots of survival caches with a little bit of silver in each one. And I'm going to continue urban mining. I might even get to 2 ton, but I doubt it. It took me years to build up £2,800 with face value copper coins. But I recommend everyone watching this, think about, could you do some urban mining? Just have a goal of 100 kilo of copper, something like that. Do urban mining. If you've got kids or grandkids, or just do it yourself. Go and get these bags of 1 and 2p coins. Use a big magnet. Suck out all the ones that aren't copper. Deposit them back at the bank and keep the copper ones. This has been done many times through history. When they debase silver to copper, anybody who kept the old silver ones and get rid of the ones that aren't silver is very happy they did that. And then they debase copper to iron. Happened in ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and now it's happening today. They're debasing the copper to iron. Keep the copper ones and get rid of the iron ones. Each 1p copper, pre-1992 1p coin, is worth 3p. That's just melt value. But in actual fact, the real value is probably worth twice or 3 times that, I think. When you look at what copper coins are selling for on eBay, it's well worth putting the effort in for urban mining copper. Don't listen to groups like Mind of Steel. There's some trolls there. They all say to me, don't feed the trolls. But I don't mind. They feed me. I like it. I love hearing from these idiotic people. And they say, it's such an idiotic thing to do, mining, urban mining. I've never seen something so desperate in all my life. That's what they actually said. And they said, you've got to feel sorry for Dave Silver's kids having such a nut job father, going and getting all these pennies and using a magnet to suck out the ones that aren't copper. And then he's storing all the copper ones in survival caches. He's thinking in 10 years' time he's going to dig them up and they're going to be very valuable. Yes, I do. And I think they will be. And I also think that there's a currency crisis coming. I think the current monetary system is unsustainable. It will not be sustained. And when it is no longer sustained, copper, pennies and 2p's pre-1992, all the stuff that is copper minted before 1992, will be very valuable to buy and use as money, to buy things. If you want to buy some food, you can go and say, how many grams of silver or copper can we, and a producer of food or someone who has goods and services that you want to buy, and say the pound sterling is no more. It has collapsed. That system has collapsed. It's been replaced with a central bank digital currency system. and for some reason you don't want to use central bank digital currency, because there could be all sorts of reasons for this. There's you've reached your limit, how much good food you can buy, or you don't want it to be tracked and traced. You're buying these things. It might be contraband items you're buying. You can't use central bank digital currency units. So you'll go to the person who's offering these goods and services for sale that you want to buy. Say, how many grams of silver or copper? And it could be like 2 or 3 grams of silver, or 50 grams of copper, or something like that. I don't know. 100 grams of copper, or 1 or 2 grams of silver, something like that. You can transact privately and anonymously. Do not listen to the trolls, the Mind of Steel group. What's his name? Reynard Wilson, who says it's the most stupid thing, stacking real silver and copper. That's stupid. He says buy ETFs. He says buy all these virtual things. No, I think you want real. The best advice I'm giving people: continue to stack both silver and copper. Make sure it's real. Do not buy paper or digital illusions of silver or copper. Do not buy mining shares. Try and buy in the dips. Both silver and copper do dip. I mean, it doesn't make any difference with urban mining. Then, oh, did you get him, Kiki? Nearly got a squirrel. Try and buy in the dips. There will be more dips along the way. There's definitely going to be dips. You know, silver got to 120 and it dipped down to all the way down to 70. Kiki is your friend. Kiki, look who it is. It's Weaver. Hello, Weaver. Hello, Weaver. Nice to see you. He's a nice dog. Kiki just saw her friend. Good girl. So my advice is prepare for the end of the pounds sterling, and I think that'll be the end of the dollar, the euro, the yen. All the fiat currency systems, they are unsustainable. The debts are growing unsustainably. It will not be sustained. What will happen when it can no longer be sustained? There'll be a loss of confidence. Next few years, I'm looking up to 2030. I think it'll start 2027. The currency crisis will really start next year, and it could drag out a few years. But I'm looking towards the year 2030. What I think will happen is, at some time around then, there will be a currency crisis, banking crisis. They will bring in some kind of central bank digital currency. It won't work. There'll be no confidence in it. I think there'll be several attempts to rejigger the system. It will be chaotic. There will be absolute chaos. People will not know how much to value things, your house price, your pension, I don't think any pension can be relied on, any insurance. You've been paying into pensions for decades. How will they pay out when the pound is no more there? How will they work it out in central bank digital currency? There's going to be chaos and people are going to be angry. I've paid into this all my life and now I'm only getting the same as someone who didn't pay into anything all their life. That's why I think you want something outside the system. If you stack real silver and copper outside the system, that is safe, it is private, and it is anonymous. Nobody knows you've got it. It is completely anonymous and private. And I was going to say, with copper, it makes no difference whether the price goes up or down. There's been a bit of a dip with copper prices lately. But if you're urban mining, the way people in my team are urban mining, it makes no difference. 1p is 3.5 grams of copper. It won't change. The price of copper goes up or down. You can still buy 3.5 grams for 1p. You can buy 35 grams of these coins for 10p. And for £2,800, you can get 1 metric ton. And that's what I've done. It took a long time. It's a lot of work. You do have to put the work in with a magnet, taking out the ones that aren't copper and separating them, putting them back, keeping the copper ones. It's very enjoyable work. I've been called a nut job for doing it. Do not listen to the trolls. The trolls feed me. They give me more incentive than ever to carry on my nut job activities that they've been calling it. And me and the kids have stacked 1 metric ton of copper. We're now spreading it out in lots of different survival caches with a little bit of silver in each one, waiting for the currency crisis, which I think is coming the next few years. I think you don't need to go over the top with your preps. I'm not one of these doom mongers think things will go Mad Max or like the road, Cormac McCarthy's road, cannibalism, civil unrest. No. But I think what's happening in Mexico now is a pretty good idea. That's going to be a pretty good idea of what's coming, I think. When the banks collapse, when there is a currency crisis, things are not going to go really bad. I don't think the government's going to completely lose control. There will be police, there will be army on the streets, there will be... You might have curfews, you know, there might well be martial law, might well happen. There might be rioting, there might be looting. There's going to be people unhappy. If you've been paying into some kind of a paper or digital illusion system for years, and now it's all gone to nothing, and you've only got the same CBDC universal basic income as somebody who hasn't been paying into anything for it. They didn't have any stock shares. That's all going to collapse, you know. They didn't have any ETFs. They didn't have any pension. And now you're all getting the same universal basic income. People are going to be angry. And I think the best thing is to be well away from all that. I think there'll never be real food shortages when it comes to the basic things that there'll be food-like substances available. The Red Cross and governments will be able to provide horrible food, but it'll be a food-like substance. It won't be real food. If you want to buy real food, like I like steak, I'm a carnivore. I like steak, fish, you know, potatoes, carrots, onions. I like real whole foods, not stuff that comes in a packet with chemicals and fillers and horrible things and injections. I like natural whole foods. That's what my family eats, and that might be hard to get. There'll be emergency rations. I don't think there's going to be starvation when the banks collapse, but I don't want to eat that crap Frankenstein foods made in a lab. I want to eat real foods. Now, you might not be able to buy that with your CBDCs. They're clamping down on chickens. They're clamping down on all good real foods production. You might not be able to use your CBDCs to buy real good quality whole foods. This is where silver and copper will come into it. And I think for dog food, for my little dog, doesn't eat much, but I got a blow dart gun and I go hunting for just squirrels, pigeons. They love squirrels. I mean, she, and all dogs, they love natural food. That's what they would love to eat. You know, this is a miniature schnauzer, my breed. They're bred for small game. They love go hunting small game. Rats. You mustn't think like a human. That's a mistake my daughter makes. She wants to buy these like stupid cupcakes made in a pet shop that are designed for dogs. I said, no. I said, I promise. I said to Maria, the dog doesn't like that. You mustn't think like a human. You mustn't think he would like what you think he would like. No. If I catch a bird or a squirrel with my blow dart gun, he loves that. All dogs. The dog would love to go in a dead... If I just catch it and it falls out of the tree and I pull the dart out, leave him to... They will eat it. They will... And my daughter said, no, she can't eat the fur. Yes, she can. Dogs are built for that. Humans can't, you're right. But a dog will eat a whole rabbit. If you skin a rabbit, throw the skin to the dog, the dog will eat the whole rabbit skin and poop out a fur ball. They are designed for that. They love that. They love that. You mustn't think dogs are like humans. So when the currency crisis happens, I think it'll start next year, 2027, and it will be spread out for a few years. I'm not a doom-monger thinking things will go crazy. It's not going to be that bad. It's only history repeating. Get an idea what's happening in Mexico right now. I think that will be a similar thing. I think you need to think about feeding your dog. I'm going to be hunting for my dog, and I'm going to be using silver and copper to buy food, goods and services for my family. Be prepared now. Have some survival caches ready. Think about self-defense. Think about security. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a doom-monger. I'm not saying things are going to get that bad. It's not going to be as bad as things were in the Second World War. Our great-grandparents or our grandparents, depending how old you are, what they went through in the Second World War was really hard. Things are not going to be that bad, but they are going to be harder than most people imagine, and I think now's the time to prepare for it. Stack real silver and real copper for barter, for trading. Stack food, long life foods. Think about getting food for your pets, and think about security. Self-defense. For a long time I've been a member of the Silver Shield group. I've been stacking Chris Dwayne's members only rounds, and I do recommend, if you can, have a look at Chris Dwayne's Silver Shield rounds. This latest one now, for a long time Chris Dwayne has been a silver maximalist, and he hates digital illusions of wealth like Bitcoin. And he says here, this is the new coin conversion. Look it up, it's an amazing design. And he said this is part of the Silver Shield crypto series, continues with conversion. A lot of people are converting crypto now for silver and copper. And he says, I want to convert Michael Saylor, who's a big Bitcoin maximalist, from Bitcoin to Silver Shield. Silver isn't merely digital gold inferior cousin. It's the money metal that has always served as the people's money in chaos, the divisible, recognizable bridge asset. When empires fracture and trust in centralized ledgers evaporates, or trust in promissory note systems, when that evaporates, people go back to silver and copper. And that is what Chris Dwayne is all about. He's been teaching that for many years. That's the message he shows in all his coins. I recommend you stack these coins. And the next one here, which is brilliant, Stack or Starve version 3. This one's part of the Death of the Dollar series. I've been stacking this whole series. I want to complete the whole series. It's a brilliant series. This is the version 3, Stack or Starve. In times of severe economic turmoil, when fiat currencies, or you could say promissory notes, hyperinflate, lose all confidence into worthless paper or digital blips on a screen, supply chains fracture and grocery shelves stand empty, stacking silver becomes far more than investment. It transforms into literal lifeline against starvation. I'm not that extreme. I don't think there's going to be starvation. I think the government will have emergency rations of nonsense Frankenstein food-like substances. But if you want real whole foods, silver and copper for the future. I really recommend Chris Dwayne's Silver Shield coins. He sells both silver and copper. Keep stacking silver and copper.